Hi, this is Emily Leiphart of Art from the Heart, and in this video I'm introducing the new Fruitastic Dies from Paper Smooches, as well as making a set of watercolored shaker tags using this die collection. These dies coordinate with the much-loved Fruitastic stamp set that was one of Paper Smooches' original releases. Let's get started! I'm showing you all of the dies sitting on top of the stamp set so you can see that this die collection covers just about everything. I'll be using all of the dies except the little blueberry, cherry, or grape. I'm going to die cut them all from distress watercolor cardstock. Next, I stamp all of the fruit on their respective die cuts using Ranger Archival ink. First is the banana, then the lemon, next is the strawberry, and the peach, finally we have the apple, and the orange. Now I'm taking out my Gansai watercolor paints. I have the 36 color set because I had to have the silver and golds. I do always link to the 24, 18, and 12 color sets for your shopping convenience. I made a color chart for easy reference and I always use that when choosing colors for my projects. These are the best watercolor paints, and I find it hard to use any of my other paints now that I have these. You won't be disappointed with the creamy consistency and vibrancy of the colors. I start with the banana, and for that I use 44 light brown and 42 bright yellow. These paints offer an amazing range of shades within one color. They can be used with very little water for a deep saturated rich shade or watered down for the palest pastel. For the lemon I use 43 mid yellow and 40 lemon yellow. For the lips I use 33 orange and 31 scarlet red. After coloring the lips, I decide to add more color to the top half of the lemon. The eyes needed more emphasis. Now it's time to work on the apple. I use 32 red and 30 cadmium red. When I'm coloring large surface areas, I tend to reach for watercolors because it's a lot faster and easier than blending with Copic markers. For the stem, I use 47 dark brown, and for the leaf, I use 53 mid-green. Now I move on to the strawberry, and I use the same mid-green color that I used on the apple leaf. You can see how depth and shadow can be created just by adding more of the same color for higher saturation. For the strawberry itself, I used 35 carmine red. I ended up adding way too much paint, so I took a dry tissue to wick away some of the color. Then I just dragged the damp brush through what paint is already at the edges and use that to even out the white spot. You'll see that some of the red bled into the leafy area, so I just wiped that off, painted over with water to erase the color, and then add more green paint to fill it back in. Moving on to the peach. This is my favorite of all the fruits. I start with the leaf and I use more of the mid-green than I did on the apple and strawberry. The stem is the same color as the apple stem, which is dark brown. Next, I color the tongue in 34, dark pink, but it's very diluted. At this point, I switch to a wider flat brush. The peach is colored with 34 dark pink and 33 orange. I actually combine these two colors on the brush to get a unique color. Finally, I'm on to the orange, which I color with 33 orange and 32 red. Another quality I love about these paints is that they are forgiving if you lay down too much color. All you need to do is add water to the brush and drag color from concentrated areas to other areas that need more color. After all of the fruit are dry, I can start working on the shaker tags. I'm using the quote tag die with the band bubble die cut out of it, and that's where the sequins will appear. The fruit will sit just off the bottom right hand corner of the band bubble. The complementary sentiments are also from the Fruitastic stamp set. The back layer will be white linen cardstock and the front layer will be craft cardstock. After die cutting 6 front and back panels as well as 6 acetate layers, I'm ready to assemble them. I position the fruit where it'll be adhered later with foam tape so I know where to stamp the sentiments. Then I go ahead and do that on all of them before assembling the shaker portion of the tags. Once I've stamped the sentiment with VersaFine Onyx Black pigment ink, I flip it over to adhere the acetate window. I apply 2 strips of 1/8 of an inch score tape down the sides to hold that in place. Then I cut 1/2 inch foam tape into thirds. This will form the sides that contain the sequins and also hold the back of the tag in place. Someone really needs to manufacture a 1/8 inch roll of foam tape. If you know where I can buy this, please let me know in the comments below. It would sure come in handy. I don't want sequins traveling all the way down to the bottom of the tag, so I always make the confines of the walls as small as possible. This way I use fewer sequins. After adding foam tape support to the bottom of the tag, I can add sequins, but first I'm going to use a slot punch through the top of both layers so I can thread the ribbon. For this first tag, I choose to punch the slot before adding the sequins and attaching the back panel, but for the rest of the tags, I decided to punch the slot after those two steps were completed. It really doesn't matter when you do it. I suppose it was easier to do it when the pieces were adhered together since I didn't have to worry about them shifting. You'll see later that I didn't end up liking the combination of sequins I used on this first tag. The colors weren't vibrant enough and they didn't complement the watercolors, so I switched to a different combination of sequins. After popping the lemon on with foam tape, I cut a piece of chevron ribbon about 1 1/3 the length of the tag. I fork the ends and thread it through the slot. When I tie the cord around the ribbon, I knot it at the back first, then again at the front before tying a bow. In addition to swapping out the sequins, I also changed the colors of the cords I was using. I guess I was really picky that day, but I figured what's the point in making something if it's not to my satisfaction. When I don't want my bows to come undone, I use my X-Acto knife to place a micro glue dot underneath the knot of the bow. I always love long tails in other people's projects, but I couldn't deal with them and they twisted around the ribbon when I shook the sequins, so I decided to trim them just a tad longer than the length of the ribbon. At this point, I decided to do all the sentiment stamping first, then assemble all the shakers at once. When creating in bulk, it's easier to do a production lineup and finish all of one task before moving on to the next. Here's the comparison between the old set of sequins on the left with the new ones on the right. As I mentioned earlier, and what you'll see in the still photos, is that I swapped out those sequins for larger, more vibrant ones. I think they're a better contrast to the brightly colored fruit. Anyway, the time limit is up for this video, and I wouldn't dare bore you with applying adhesive and foam tape for 5 more tags. Here's how they all look assembled. The lemon tag also has a different ombre cord, which I love so much more. Another thing I did was add more pink to the lips since they weren't bright enough. Now they match the pink in the cord. I used 2 different spools of ombre cord to complement the watercolored fruit. Now my tags are done. Before I go, I want to announce the winners of my Seasons Givings blog hop giveaway. I'm so appreciative of all of you taking the time to visit my blog and leaving comments there as well as here on YouTube, so I decided to throw together a second giveaway. I chose one winner from all of my blog comments, and the lucky lady is Sandra Schroeder. Then I chose one winner from all of my YouTube comments, and the lucky lady is Joy Meadows. Congratulations, ladies! Please email me or contact me via my blog to provide me with your mailing address so I can get these goodies in the mail. Thank you so much to everyone who stopped by. Please refer to the supply links below if you're interested in any of the products I used in this video. You can also visit my blog for stills and more information about my work. Thanks so much for watching.